What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be giving you some of my initial thoughts and feelings on the newly shown product images of the upcoming Transformers Studio Series Voyager class Blitzwing, a figure which has been highly anticipated and dare I say is probably one of the most anticipated figures out of this next wave of Studio Series. Now for me it seems forever since I last did one of my thoughts and analysis videos on the Studio Series, and that's just because we haven't really got that much news lately in regards to the Studio Series. I know in the last few days there were some leaked images of some in-package shots of both Blitzwing and Cliffjumper. However, the quality of those images was really grainy and I wouldn't have been able to give you my true thoughts and impressions on them without actually seeing them in a more high res. However, here you can see that we do in fact have high resolution images of Blitzwing, giving us potentially our best look at this figure yet, and I've got to say for the most part I'm exceptionally happy with this. Blitzwing was one of those characters that I was a huge fan of his design within the movie, so to get this figure almost 2 years after his debut in the movie, it definitely does give Hasbro and Takara Tomy the time in order to really perfect the sculpt and make it as accurate as possible. So without further ado, let's get into taking a closer look at some of the details. Checking out what I believe to be the best image that we have of Blitzwing within his robot mode, you can truly see how well Hasbro and Takara Tomy did on this release. He looks incredibly faithful to his on-screen movie appearance. If I had any problems with this figure, it would be the overall paint scheme. I'm not a huge fan of the rather creamy like plastic that they have indeed used for Blitzwing. I'm not entirely sure what else they could have done, as that is more or less his colour scheme within the movie, but it definitely does look really bland, and if they perhaps could have given us a slightly darker hue to the plastic, I think it would have greatly amplified the figure's look. Something else which is apparent to me is that he isn't painted up as well as some of the promotional images that we got at New York Toy Fair earlier on in the year. You can see that his head sculpt is in drastic need of some additional paint apps and is severely lacking in the black paint apps that were originally shown. Personally, I do think that this is probably an issue that is going to be rectified on the final product, so I'm not really too bothered about that, as I do imagine they'll rectify that. But actually taking a look at some of the details of the torso area, I think they've done an incredible job of actually capturing Blitzwing's torso area. You can see the way that the cockpit divides and splits up from the top half, near where his head is, down to the actual middle of his torso. I think has been done incredibly well, and that is obviously a use of faux parts as well as the actual real cockpit that we'll see used in the jet mode. I do think that the arms do look slightly puny and a little bit more on the slender side than perhaps I would have liked, but I think that they look rather nice nonetheless, and I really do like the almost brace section that he has got going on throughout the torso as well. And as we begin to work our way down to the legs, I think that the proportions on these are really nicely done, and all of the sculpting and detailing is correct and present. Once again, the only thing here which majorly stands out to me is the lack of paint applications. There are just so many details on this figure that I really think could be amplified by some additional paint apps, but of course that is something which could change when we actually do get the final figure, and if not, I'm sure that you'll be able to add some yourself. Taking a look at the first of two accessories that Blitzwing comes with, here of course we have his cannon arm, and I think that this looks really nice as well. You can definitely see the sculpting and detailing correct and present, and I'm a massive fan of the gunmetal silver that they've used in order to bring out some of the sharper details of the sculpt. We also do get his Electron Blade that we see him devoice Bumblebee with in the movie, so that's a super nice attention to detail, and just rounds off all of the accessories that I would have wanted Blitzwing to come with. And I do actually think that the integration of both of these accessories is going to be really well done, as in some of the other images that I've seen, particularly over at Toy Fair, the hands of Blitzwing are not visible whatsoever, so whether or not that will mean that the hands can actually peg out and then you can plug the Electron Blade in is yet to be seen, but I definitely think that it's looking that way. And as it goes for the blaster, I'm sure that it just pegs over the top, and there is enough plastic so that it does wrap around the arm in order to make it look as if though the arm has transformed. And then finally, wrapping things up, here we have an image of Blitzwing in his jet mode. Now I do know that this isn't 100% faithful to what we see within the movie, however I think that this mold is definitely going to be reused for perhaps some of the Seekers that we do indeed see on Cybertron, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was an easy compromise for Hasbro to take, so that they could perhaps remold this in the future, or just literally rehash this same jet, and so that it wasn't the same jet that we see Blitzwing obtain within the film. Or it could be down to the simple fact that they couldn't perhaps get the license for that particular jet, as there is no USAF logos on this whatsoever, which is rather surprising. Or it could be down to the simple fact that this is just plainly inaccurate, and that they couldn't have found a way around it in order to give us both an accurate robot mode or a jet mode. I personally will never know, and nor do I necessarily really care. I think that this looks good enough as it is and definitely does the trick. I'll be more than likely displaying Blitzwing within his robot mode, but taking a look, this jet definitely does seem rather clunky, and it definitely does appear as if though the majority of the robot mode kibble will store underneath the base of the jet, which is apparent for most of the jet-like transformers that we see from the movieverse. But as a a whole, this definitely looks as if though it's going to be a fantastic figure. If they do fix some of the paint app issues, which I do presume they'll do, particularly the issue with the head, I really and truly won't have any flaws with this whatsoever, and just cannot wait for him to be released and add him to the collection. I really do hope that you enjoyed this particular thoughts and analysis video, and be sure to let me know down in the comment section below your own thoughts on some of these brand new stock images released by Hasbro and Takara Tomy, and whether or not Blitzwing is a figure that you will indeed pick up once it's released. Thanks for watching.